Hi, the SI meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday, January 15th. Well, a cold front slipped through the region yesterday. It has stalled out south and east of here. Another wave of low pressure will ride up along that frontal system later on today into the early part of tomorrow. It looks like that wave of low pressure has a fair amount of precipitation associated with it. It's not quite cold enough here along the I-95 corridor in the lower and middle levels of the atmosphere for accumulating snow. Nonetheless, there can be some sleet and even some snow mixing in later on tonight into the early part of tomorrow in the northern and western suburbs of Philly and New York City, for example. But the real accumulating snow looks like it'll occur a little bit farther to the north and at higher elevations. For example, the Poconos could very well get 3 or 4 inches of snow out of this upcoming event ending on Wednesday afternoon. Let's take a look at the latest surface map. Here's that cold frontal system that slipped through the mid-Atlantic region from the northwest to the southeast. It's now kind of set up shop, stalled out here along the Carolina coastal region. And there's the wave of low pressure right here. Quite a bit of precipitation associated with it all the way down into Texas, actually, and from the Gulf coastal region all the way just knocking on the doorstep of D.C. right now. This low will ride up to the north and east, and again, it's not exactly cold air flooding into the mid-Atlantic region. It's just kind of oozed in. The upper air winds are pretty much parallel to this frontal system riding from the southwest to the northeast. That has prevented real cold air from moving too far to the south and east, and hence the snow associated with this particular system will occur upstate Pennsylvania, not along the I-95 corridor. Well, here's a current look at the nationwide radar map. Again, fair amount of precipitation associated with this. Most of this here is in the form of rain, but interestingly, if you go back into the state of Texas right now, the last couple hours, they've had snow in Dallas and thunderstorms, actual thunder snow in Dallas, Texas. Again, very cold air still exists throughout the western two-thirds of the nation. That frontal system is kind of set up shop right around here, and the cold air has just kind of filtered into the mid-Atlantic region. That's why we're on the border. It's just marginal cold air here. Some sleet and snow can mix in again in the northern and western suburbs later on tonight and early tomorrow. Little in the way of accumulation, however. You have to go farther to the north, places like State College, maybe to the Poconos, where some accumulating snows will occur. Here's the latest infrared satellite loop from the SSEC Wisconsin website. Long stretch of clouds here associated with this wave of low pressure in this frontal system. This is the boundary zone between some really chilly air out in the western two-thirds of the nation. Very cold day yesterday in Los Angeles, for example. In fact, they had one of the coldest days in about 20 years, coldest temperatures in about 20 years in downtown LA. It's been very cold throughout Arizona for the last several days, many days in a row at well below normal temperatures. And again, right now, thunder snow occurring in the Dallas, Texas region here as that cold air has penetrated. It's kind of run into a brick wall because of the upper air wind situation. We'll take a look at that in a moment, but upper air winds are flowing right along this boundary zone here from the southwest to the northeast, and that's kind of preventing the cold air from really moving too far to the southeast as it approached the east coast. Well, in fact, let's take a look at those upper air winds. This is a map, the current map of the upper air wind flow at 250 millibars, way up in the atmosphere. And just notice the direction here along this flow. This is out of the southwest to the northeast. And when you see upper air winds parallel to the surface frontal system, that front is going to stall out. And in fact, that's what it has done. It's really preventing the cold air from penetrating too far into the mid-Atlantic region from the north and west, and that's why we're just marginally cold right now. But you go out to the western two-thirds of the nation, and the cold air has certainly penetrated all the way down into the deep south. By the way, this is kind of very strong jet streak here with winds in excess of 150 knots. And again, it's a pretty healthy little storm headed our way for later on tonight into the early part of tomorrow, with quite a bit of precipitation associated with it. Well, let's walk through this upcoming storm using last night's Zero-Z GFS model run. We'll look at tonight's forecast map, which is what this is, and then tomorrow morning and tomorrow night. Again, this blue line here, this dashed blue line, can be thought of as a rain-snow line. Notice for this evening, it's kind of setting up across central Pennsylvania. The northern half of Pennsylvania may be cold enough for snow. Here's the precipitation area associated with this low pressure area. It could rain throughout much of the day in the D.C. area. It'll take a little while to reach Philadelphia, and probably not till early this evening. And again, later on tonight, it could get cold enough for some sleet and snow to mix in, but the real accumulating snow looks like you'll have to go farther north in places like the Poconos in northeastern Pennsylvania. Here's the forecast map for tomorrow morning. Notice that blue line here is still way up in northern Pennsylvania, preventing any accumulating snow along the I-95 corridor. Still precipitating here, mainly in the form of rain, maybe some sleet mixed in, maybe even some flakes mixed in along the I-95 corridor, but just little or no accumulation expected, as it's just marginally cold and you have to go way upstate for some accumulating snow. Now by tomorrow night, this storm pulls away. It's off the coast here. We dry out tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. And there's a cold frontal system here that will whip on through here late Thursday night into early Friday. And Friday will be a colder day, but that cold air lifts rather quickly over the weekend. We get milder this weekend, but then a significant cool down begins the early part of next week. Well, that's it for now. We'll continue to monitor this low pressure area just to see if there's any changes over the next few hours for the precipitation event coming later on tonight into early tomorrow. For the SIWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.